Man, that Action Elite logo's loud. All right, troops. Welcome to the Action Elite. My name is Owen. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And how are you doing tonight, Jay and Sean?
Doing good.
I'm doing real good with this topic, I'll tell you.
Oh, yes. So tonight we are going to be talking about the Jean-Claude Van Damme classic Hard Target and the Scott Adkins movie Hard Target 2. So first of all, we'll start off with I'm going to start off with you, Sean. When were you first introduced to Hard Target, and what did you think of it when you saw it back in the day?
Hard Target. First of all, I get like here in Toronto, it was all over the place in terms of like bus stops and train stations. Like you couldn't escape it. Like the arrow and Van Damme's face and like the glint of the knife and everything. Like that whole design stuff. All those posters were everywhere. You couldn't escape it. And when I saw it finally, I saw it on video, and like right after the theatrical release. And at the time, I guess a lot of people were drubbing it for being like sort of like conventional, but there's nothing conventional about it. It's like John Woo's like big announcement to everyone. It's like, come get some. It's like, listen, like I got mega like slow-mo. I've got mega like dissolves and stuff. It looked awesome. The locales looked great. All the kills were great. Jean-Claude Van Damme is like super charismatic in this one. And like watching it over the years, like Arnold Vosloo and Lance Henriksen give it their all. Like they just give it their all. The ending is super exciting, and Lance Henriksen with his like coat on fire is wicked. It's just one of those cool movies that like you gather around with friends to watch at a slumber party or like after school, and they're like, and it's kind of dangerous to watch because like your parents might not want you to watch it. It's awesome. It's a quintessential Van Damme, quintessential John Woo to me. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, my dad took me to see it in the cinema 3 times. So, so my parents rock that way. So, what about you, Jay?
Well, I mean, Van Damme's like my hero. After I saw Hard Target, growing the hair long, got the earring. Literally, I'm like, oh, must have an earring because if you don't have one, you're a loser. I'm like, anything Van Damme does is the best. I was in Taekwondo at the time. I was trying to do the splits too. I was like Van Damme, like everything. I had the poster of Hard Target in my room. Had the VHS. At that point, I had a VHS of every Van Damme movie, including No Retreat, No Surrender. I had every VHS of Van Damme, and every time the new one came out, the poster went up on the wall. So I love Hard Target. I think it was my introduction to John Woo, followed up by me researching John Woo, and I saw The Killer. I had that on VHS. I had Hard Boiled. I think that this movie took all the John Woo tropes, all that stuff, put it together, and had Van Damme in his probably his second best character since the Double Impact film. Chance Boudreau is just the best. We literally modeled our lives. Like we start doing the accent. It's like literally our life. It's like, I played that one on you before. Like it's like literally every line we would just walk around and look for excuses to say the lines in the accent. And we're like, I don't know. And the action is great. I know we've got the edited one, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure. But even the one that we got is absolutely bonkers, crazy. It's like beautiful action. It's the first time where action was beautiful, and you're like, this is like an art form. This isn't just a bunch of guys shooting. This is like, you're like, wow. And Van Damme's moves in the martial arts have never looked better since John Woo filmed it that way. Like the angles, the cuts. You know what I mean? Like Van Damme I think Van Damme did a lot of his own stunts, maybe not all, but he did a little bit more than he usually does, I think. So it's just crazy. I love it. I think it's 10 out of 10. It's like, I love everything.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's maybe my favorite Van Damme movie. It's certainly way up there. Definitely top 5. I mean, it sort of changes all the time, which I decide what my favorite is. Sort of, I would say Hard Target, Time Cop, Lionheart, Double Impact, and then Bloodsport, Kickboxer are joined together, and and then I think of other ones. I'm like, oh, what about this? What about that? So there's just so much about this movie. Like you said, how stylish it is. I remember when I first saw it, we kind of sort of laughed a little bit at the overuse of slow motion. It's kind of felt like a Levi's jeans commercial. It's like whenever the there's like a car that moves out the way, a truck moves out the way, and then Van Damme is revealed standing there in slow motion.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yes, it just looks so cool. It's just one of the great character moments. But there are like so many great movie moments in this movie, and my favorite is now take your big stick and your boyfriend and find a bus to catch.
Yeah, no, I was literally looking for excuses to say lines. I'm like, how can I fit that in? Like,
It's like, can I say that at work? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, there are just like so many great scenes. Sorry, just a comment here from Severio. Got my drink ready.
Oh,
Me
nice.
too. Welcome, Severio. And interestingly enough, I only found this out recently. Kurt Russell was initially going to be in it, and then he couldn't make it for whatever reason. I think he was doing something for like a year or two, and then ended up getting Van Damme because Universal were like, you know what, we want to get in the Van Damme business. So that's what they did. So what was also interesting was that Sam Raimi oversaw a lot of it, and he was sort of like a side director because of John Woo's limited English. So the studios were like, "Can you kind of just help him out here and make sure he's okay?" So we should get a Hard Target 3 with Sam Raimi directing.
Oh my God, yes, with Kurt Russell or something. Maybe we could bring him back.
Finally he comes back.
Finally,
yeah, I know. And what was it? Where does it rank for you guys in terms of Van Damme movies?
Sean?
Yeah, well, you'd be the expert, J-Man. I would say, like, I've seen it. I don't know if I've seen it the most. It's probably number one for me. Interchangeable with others, but like today it's one.
No, I think it's number one.
Yeah.
Double Impact, Universal Soldier, Time Cop, probably like maybe Bloodsport or something. Are like kind of the ones. Lionheart's pretty good, but those early ones, I watched so many times. But Hard Target, I literally like changed my life. I tried to do the hair. I got the earring. Like I'm like, Chance Boudreau is like the greatest thing I've ever seen, and him standing, you know, and like, you know, with the cars moving, he's standing there, and him walking, and like literally, when those guys are there, and he moves the coat. And you thought there was going to be a gun or something, and it's just his leg. It's like, no, I just need my leg to destroy you guys. It's like, you thought, oh, there's going to be a gun there. It's like, down, when he opens up.
And unsheaths it.
Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. He unsheaths his leg. Yeah, and like the soundtrack, and I had the poster forever on my door. It's my favorite. Yeah, with the arrowhead, and like he's like in the reflection of the arrowhead. I thought the story was pretty neat. You know, hunting the people. There was some sadness to it with Bender. I think was the like her father or whatever.
Yeah, there's a guy in the opening scene.
The guy in the opening scene, Douglas Bender, and her the daughter who was Witchblade later. She plays Witchblade. Yancey Butler.
Yeah, Yancey Butler.
Yeah.
She played that.
I thought she was good too. Like she was likable. She wasn't irritating. Like, I need to find my father. Like she was like a normal person. She's like, look, I just want to find my father. Can you help me out? He's like, okay, I'll do it for 100. Does anyone know the exact amount of money that he did it for? It was $300 and something, and he literally had to, because that was the dues that he had to pay. He's like, Sean, you got to pay your dues.
Well, it was $100. She bought him for $100. And then he wanted $217.
Oh yeah, I'll do it for It's like I'll do it for $200 and $298 or something. It was like some precise number.
It was an imprecise. It was like $217 a day or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll help you for 4 days, and I want this money.
Yeah.
It also the classic line, what kind of name is Chance? My mama took one.
Every line. He's like, what Mr. Poe tried to say, he's not too good with faces, you know? Literally everything he says should be a t-shirt. And if they made a Van Damme, if they made a Chance Boudreau doll where you pull the string, there would be 400 quotes. It's like the entire movie is like, every quote is the best.
Yeah, I would literally...
Sorry, I was gonna say. I remember when I first met you, J-Man. You told me straight off, like, I've modeled my life after Chance Boudreau. You had like you had a shirt and like an undershirt. You had a draped over like freaking collar shirt that was always open, and so you could walk around. And it's like, what the hell? This man's first words to me
Yeah. No, like the picture in the background, I literally wore something similar yesterday to work. It's like it's never gone away, and it's just like the hair is too hard to keep. Otherwise, I'd have that because I used to have the ponytail.
I'm getting there.
Are you getting there? Yes.
Got a nice mullet coming along. I just got to get the earring.
Dude, yeah, and I got 2 now. So, but anyway.
Now, have either of you seen the work print? And we've spoken about it before, but have you seen it?
Only clips. I've seen clips, and I know you did a thing on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like there seems to be like a lot of action. I know there's like a love scene, which I kind of am glad that they took out because I like that they're more like friends and he's helping her out rather than let's
partners
have yet another. Like rather than let's have another like love scene or whatever. Like you've got enough of those. We don't need that.
It's like Schwarzenegger had said about Predator in some talk show. He was like they wanted to have a love scene between him and that girl, and he's like, "We're being chased by an alien who wants to kill us. Why the hell would we have sex right now?"
There is no time for that. It's like the last thing in our minds right now. I never understand that sort of thinking. Severia comments here and says it may rank higher on the list for me if we get to see the director's cut version. Yeah, one day, which I'm sure you guys want to talk about with the new release coming. Yeah, I know we've got the that new Blu-ray coming out soon, and it says the uncut director's cut. But I think that's this, which I already have. I have the UK version, and this is the only version which I've really seen because the US version or North American version is a lot shorter.
It's very short.
The scene where he shoots the guy at the end, was like, "Sorry about the shirt." I think he shoots him like another 30 times or something.
Yeah, and that's Sven, right?
Yeah, Sven Olforsen.
Yeah, who's my buddy from Conan. But
he's in every action movie.
I used to call him Tank Ellis, which is Captain Power Sean knows. Captain Power Tank Ellis. I always call him Tank Ellis, and that's not his name. And I don't even. It's Thorgrim, really. I should call him Thorgrim, but I don't even call him that. But yeah, sorry about the shirt. Great line. I mean, there's no reason to say that line other than to be awesome.
Yeah. And what I love about this movie is like the villains themselves. You've got Lance Henriksen as Fouchon, who is amazing. But I gotta put my hand up and say it's Arnold Vosloo who steals the show. Randall, you were going to leave without saying goodbye. I know you didn't want to hurt my feelings. It's just like my favorite line.
And he puts he's like, I'm cutting me a steak. And he puts the thing in the. I was like, man, and he cuts his ear off too. What a bastard.
Am I the only person who feels bad for Randall in that movie? I'm like, poor Randall gets his ear cut off, he gets beaten up, he just gets his ass kicked, and his face blown off with a shotgun later on.
I don't think he deserved all. Like he wasn't that scummy. Like
no,
he kind of got beat up a lot.
Yeah, Arnold Vosloo looks like he's having fun, which is great because he mega chews up the scenery and I remember I'm looking at another movie right now, but in Mummy, Brendan Fraser was shocked by Arnold Vosloo's performance and said he's treating this like Shakespeare, right? And he's acting circles around everybody, but yeah, he just he looks like he's having a lot of fun and stuff, and he's mega hammy, but he's great. He's so charismatic doing that, right?
Oh yeah,
he is, yeah. And then I love the friendship between he and Fouchon as well. I don't get angry. I'm a professional.
Yeah.
There's so many great lines in this movie. I absolutely love it. And also initially, how there's the horseback chase at the end. That was initially going to be a speedboat chase, which then of course would end up being in Face Off. But then it was also actually added in Hard Target 2, which we'll talk about shortly.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The speedboat chase would have been cool, but I kind of like the horses. I like the fact that it was sort of more nature versus them with their technology and everything coming after them. So it's kind of sort of straightforward. I love that. And then the whole Mardi Gras scene, and of course it's inspired by The Most Dangerous Game.
Yes,
that old movie as well. So
I've never seen it actually, so I feel bad.
I haven't seen that one. I know it though, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I saw it years ago. I don't remember much about it. I remember after seeing Hard Target, I was like, I have to see this movie to see what it's about. And I remember it being good. I bet Steven's seen it. But you would have. But
we haven't talked about Wolf of Rimley yet. So
I was just gonna say,
that man turned up in anything, and he's like in an Ewoks movie. It's like, what the hell?
Yes.
But yeah, he's awesome in this. He's so lovable, right? It's like and his accent's the best in it too.
For sure.
Yeah, I love him. I love that shot of him like riding away from that house that blows up, like John Woo style, where it's like it blows up into it looks like it's made out of balsa wood or something. Like it blows up into a million pieces, and it's slow motion. And he's got the bow in one hand. And it's like, like that's awesome, man.
He blew up his own house for it too.
Yeah.
It's like these men who are after you, they're after you for business or pleasure. It's like both.
Now, does anybody know what actually means? I don't know. Does anybody speak French? Whenever it says "Motif for puta" and then fires the arrow, what does that mean?
Yeah, I think it's maybe like "son of a bitch" or something, or "you son of a bitch" or something like that. I don't know. I took French, but they didn't teach us any of the swear words.
He's always just diabetes. But just every scene he was in, and then of course he gets shot at the end, like, oh no, he's dead, but his bottle of whiskey. Yeah,
this real bad, this real catastrophe, real bad, real bad.
But don't spill it. It killed the grass. Yeah, that whole there's extra scenes as well, which I remembered. It's been a couple of years since I watched the work print, but I remember there's more scenes of him, almost like making love to the shotgun. It's like the Winchester or whatever it's called. It's like slow motion where he's like staring at it and caressing it, and you're like, okay, that's a bit excessive. And then there's another scene which is quite cool with Fouchon, and he's playing a piano, and and there's various visions coming up of him hunting, and it's sort of like that's what he lives for, is the thrill of the hunt, and that's just who he is. But yeah, Lance was awesome in that movie, and he's always just such a great bad guy, and such a nice guy in real life, as I mentioned to you before, when I interviewed him and spoke to him about it, and he was just such a sort of awesome guy. But what was I going to say? I
was going to ask, like, is this concept, like, was this overplayed after this? I don't really know if it was.
I can't think of too many.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Surviving the Game.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Was Avenging Force? That was the before. That was that before? That had to be before, right?
Is it before? And yeah, I think so.
That was in the 80s. Yeah, that was the 80s. I think it was like late 80s, and then Hard Target came out in the 90s. But we might as well talk about some of the other ones. Like Avenging Force is amazing. It's one of my favorites. Any movie which starts off, which has the villain wearing a mask, smoking a pipe in a tree, with John P. Ryan. Genius.
That guy's the best too. He's in a lot. He's always a villain in movies, and he's awesome.
Yeah, remember in Delta Force 2, that was the president. Alex always talks about that, and it's just this amazing performance that he gave. It's just like so over the top. And Sarah is asking, how long is the work print version in comparison to the director's cut version? I think the work print was like 117 minutes or something, wasn't it?
There's a lot. That's like 20 minutes
more. Yeah.
Like
there's a lot of stuff coming. I mean, what was quite cool was seeing like where Chance lives. This like this abandoned building, and that's where he like has his way with Natasha. But I'm glad that, like I said, that wasn't in it. I thought the scene, which is kind of sad, was with Roper. You're the sportsman, Roper. Figure it out.
Roper, yeah.
And then whenever he dies, he's just lying there and he has the smile on his face, and it's just like finally at peace. And you're like, oh.
and that was Ted Raimi, right? Who says, "I don't got no change, man."
Yeah.
That was Ted Raimi.
You can recognize his face anywhere, man.
Big time.
Yeah, I like that they showed the one guy who's basically a weekend warrior. Like, he didn't know anything. He's like, oh, you better turn the safety off, right? It's like, yeah, it's like just a rich guy just doing something stupid with his money, and he pays for it in the end. But yeah,
and he tries to immediately start shooting. He's like, this is, what does he say? This is New Jersey, or no? What does he say? Oh darn, what does he say? He goes, this isn't somewhere. He mentions
I can't Beirut.
I can't remember. Beirut, yeah. That's crazy, right? The guy's like, listen, we got to give him a second here to get going, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I love the fact too. We haven't pointed this out. The fact that like at the end, Lance Henriksen has these guys come in, and they're paying to be there to hunt the guy that he needs them to kill, and he's making them pay for it. I didn't realize that. I've watched this movie so many times. I didn't realize that. It's like my 40th time watching. I'm like, wait a minute, are they paying for this? I'm like, he's like, we're hunting an exceptional target, and it's like the price for participating. I'm like, you're charging them to get rid of a guy that you need to get killed, right? Like,
Yeah.
Because they don't care, but I love it. I just think it's genius. Like, who thought of that?
I love how Fouchon actually says to him, "You are a fucking buffalo."
Yes.
It's such a random insult.
I know.
Then I love the scene also with the doctor guy, and he goes up to look through the keyhole in the door, and then bullet goes out. I think that was more graphic.
But it's one of those movie things where he has ample opportunity. He sees it. Like, he sees what's going to happen, and he's still just like sitting there like, huh?
I'm thinking it's happening at the same time. I had a recurring nightmare about that. My nightmares were not about monsters or weird things. My nightmare was that someone, like, there was a knock at the door. My grandmother goes to answer the door and gets shot through the peephole, and then they come in. I was like, oh. So I don't remember if that was before or after Hard Target, but whatever. Hard Target scarred me.
Yeah.
My nightmares were just standing up and talking in front of the public. So what you doing right now?
Yep. That's a nightmare.
I always remember the ear scene. Wakey, wakey, you fat fuck! I come back here. I got me a steak. Yeah, I just love him. But that scene, the ear scene, every time I'm always like, oh, it's horrible. And it was apparently a deliberate nod to Reservoir Dogs because John Woo knew that Tarantino was such a big fan of him, so it was sort of a little nod back to him. So that's why that scene was in it. But I always thought that was sort of the most disturbing scene of the film. But yeah, I mean, the film was always, extremely violent. And I really do hope that this new director's cut version of release actually has some of the cut footage, but probably not. It's probably just the UK version, which I have, I think. So, what else can we say about the first Hard Target? Anybody have any questions about it? Anyone in the comments want to ask us anything about Hard Target?
I mean, I could just literally we could literally do running commentary on that movie and just point out how awesome everything is.
Yeah,
it's like
how every scene is amazing.
He pays it with the exact change that that she needs for the gumbo.
How's the gumbo? A tragedy.
A tragedy. The coffee was tolerable. It ain't free neither. Like, I left my wallet in my tuxedo. You left your wallet in your tuxedo. It's like, I played that one on you before. Yeah, for the gumbo.
I love how in that scene, the street fighting scene, which is like my favorite scene of the movie, it's like I watch that on YouTube just like on repeat all the time. Yep. But or just like kicks everybody's ass. But there's one bit where he throws the guy and like head first into the metal bar and just goes boom, and just the clang it makes it, and you're just like, oh, and it bends the guy's arm the wrong way and breaks his arm. So
next time, be more careful when you show your wallet.
Yeah. Oh, of course, the most important. Have any of you ever punched a snake? Which I think is probably the best scene of all time in any movie ever. I mean, that's one thing they haven't done in John Wick. Remember last week you were saying stuff they need to have in John Wick. He didn't punch a snake. He needs to punch an animal. Like Conan punched a camel.
Yeah,
Sean has punched a snake. John Wick, he used to punch something. I don't know. We need something for him to punch. A blackbird. I hate blackbirds. I got attacked by a blackbird last week. I was like, punch a blackbird in the face. There we go.
I just watched a movie where somebody was punching a dog. That wasn't Jerome Flynn punching the dogs to get the.
Right. Yeah.
In John Wick 2, he was punching the dog to get it off him.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't punch dog. I like dogs. I don't punch them. Punch a cat. That's fine. Cats are assholes. They deserve it.
Yeah, you need to punch an animal of some kind or whatever.
Yeah. This channel's going to get banned now. They're promoting cruelty to animals. Like, no, we're just kidding.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves will never do that, I don't think. But they do need to rig up something, man. But something exotic, like a zebra or something. I don't know.
Oh, man.
No, a giraffe.
A giraffe, yeah.
I love giraffes, man. Yeah. Like in the neck or something, and like it bends the neck.
Yeah. He shoots legs out or something and it falls over. Here's Steve.
Hey, Steve, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Steve. So, you can join us. If Woo Van Damme had made a sequel to Hard Target, what would you have wanted it to be? Interesting. I actually have an idea, and it was which I'm going to. We'll come back to that, Stephen, once we've talked about the second movie, because I have an idea for part 3, which we will discuss. And then
Blazing
Mongo
Saddles,
Punching
yeah.
Horse and Blazing Saddles, of course.
Yeah.
That was great. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, I have ideas for a sequel. So in Germany on that for a second, but. Yeah, I think that's sort of everything we wanted to say now. So, Surviving the Game. Have you both seen Surviving the Game with Ice-T? Yeah.
Oh gosh,
No.
I don't remember. Maybe because I was watching a lot of those kinds of movies, and they started to blur. And I just thought Van Damme is the best. Avenging Force stuck out because I also like Michael Dudikoff, and none of these other ones stuck with me. So I don't remember. I may have seen some of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was quite good. You got Ice-T, Rutger Hauer, Charles S. Dutton, John C. McGinley, and it was really good. And then Gary Busey being batshit crazy. So, and it does have a great kill. It's my favorite line in the movie. Spoiler alert, where he's fighting Gary Busey in a burning house, and Gary Busey's like I think he's got a knife or something, and he's like, "I like my meat well done." And then Ice-T, punches him, throws him into the house on fire, and he burns. He's like, "Try well done, bitch." No, I like my steak rare well. I can't remember what it is. But
try well done. Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, it's a good movie anyway. I mean, when you watch it, you're sort of like, okay, it just kind of feels just like a rip-off of Hard Target because Ice-T's character is homeless and he's being hunted. It's the only difference is that it's in like the wilderness in the mountains somewhere. But no, it's generally a good movie. It's definitely worth checking out. I still have it, but Hard Target is definitely superior. So I think to this day, Hard Target remains Van Damme's most stylish movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The slow motion and everything else. And apparently, like Van Damme's ego was like huge at the time, and like John Woo was sort of a little bit sort of confused by it. But when Van Damme was sort of tinkering with the movie, because the studio said they wanted it to be more of a Van Damme movie, because I think John Woo had more footage of Lance Henriksen and Arnold Vosloo, and it was sort of almost their movie, which is understandable because they were both great. But the studio wanted them to change it, so they did. So Van Damme did some of the editing, and he put in lots more scenes of his bulging biceps and things like that, and then, which John Woo removed in like the final cut. So, but yeah, so that's why there's like these different versions. But yeah, I do wish that work print would get released at some point, though, just with like the full. I mean, we got that godforsaken Snyder cut, which everyone talks about. So where's the John Woo cut? I want to see that.
Yeah,
a film that deserves it.
There should be a studio that like snaps up the like temporary rights for all these things and just makes the better cut of like elements that we already have.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it. I mean, we're gonna watch it. You're gonna get money. So
mm-hmm. Yeah,
they didn't cut stuff for bullshit reasons. Like sometimes they restore scenes and you're kind of like, what is it? Why is this scene back? Like, did we need this scene?
Yeah, there's a reason why it was cut, right?
There's a reason why it was cut, right? Like I prefer Alien theatrical to Alien. The other cut or whatever. And so that's what is really Scott.
Star Wars. It's like there's a reason why it's not there. Right?
It's not there, right? But like Hard Target, it's not like that. It's like there's a lot of action bits. There's you're finally going to get a chance to meet Elvis. That entire dialogue scene between the two of them, that's in the trailer, and that's not. Well, at least not in the version I saw. I don't know if it's in the other cut. So there's like stuff in there that's taken right from that action scene. So it's like, and you can tell that there's a part where Van Damme starts to ramp up, and then there's like it's a little bit quicker editing, and all of a sudden he's like shooting more and running around. You're like, I'm thinking, I know there's something missing from here. Like there should have been something to connect these two segments a little bit better. And you could just tell, even when I first watched, I thought, it's like, did we miss something, or there should have been a little bit more?
Yeah,
I'm just seeing here
what the time differences are.
I'm actually just going to my site here to revisiting the Hard Target work print just to see the things that were sort of cut from it. So, I have a couple of videos here which show some of the footage. But in fact, right here we go. If you don't mind me reading off a page, so there have been extra scenes of violence that were cut, but not as many as expected. UK European version, which didn't trim too much in terms of blood and violence, but the scene of Poe getting his ear cut off with the scissors is cut Or in the theatrical released version, the camera cuts away and we simply hear Poe scream. But in the work print, you see the scissors cutting right through the ear. So yeah, it's no wonder that was cut. I don't really have an issue with that.
Right.
And when I asked Lance if there was any footage cut that he regretted, and he mentioned the scene where Fouchon was playing the piano and fantasizing about hunting. And that's in the scene as well. There are a few more moments with Pick Van Cleef, Arnold Vosloo, where he shows more tracking skills and also a few more jibes between him and Fouchon. I'm pretty sure Fouchon's death scene is different, and I actually prefer the theatrical version. In this version, he is shot and Van Damme kicks him and then throws a grenade at him. In the theatrical version, Chance drops a grenade down Fouchon's trousers. Fouchon picks up the grenade thinking he's put the pin back and laughs, then it explodes. It works better dramatically as he dies too quickly in the work print. Yeah, okay, that's quite different. I forgot about that. So yeah, the whole different was the whole ending was different. So the Hunt had the same vibe. Yeah, have you seen The Hunt? That one was out.
That's that newer one that came out. It was banned for a while, right?
Yeah, it was sort of controversial for 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I liked it.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was kind of sort of movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. So yeah, I don't know that much about it. So let's move on to Hard Target 2 with Scott Adkins. So we'll just get this out of the way now. This is as good as the first movie, right? It was never going to be, but this was shot, and I think it was shot in like a month or something like that, and really low budget and everything. But I think considering what they had to work with, I thought it's actually not bad. I like how they try and keep the style. Like the first shot of the movie is pigeons in a cage, and you got doves and slow motion, and it's still pretty slick. And you've even got the director Roel Reiner, who's made Dead and Tombstone and several sort of straight to DVD movies, and he sort of does the best with what he can with like a low budget. He can make a low budget movie look relatively decent, and I don't know. I think this looks okay considering it's there's no CG explosions. The explosions are real, and Scott kicks ass in it. So what do you guys think?
I thought the locations were stellar, man. I enjoyed it. It's not gonna be like John Woo's like debut in America type of great, but like it's and I was sort of annoyed when they try to ape that every so often. It's like every so often there's a slow-mo shot or something. It's like, well, I mean, you're just trying to be part one, be part two. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It's not gonna have the celebrational action of the 90s and the 80s, where it's like there's like quipping and one-liners and stuff you love to revisit. But some of the characters I remember them. As I said before, the locations are amazing. Like every single like sequence, it looks like breathtaking. So, yeah.
I like the locations. I also kind of thought it was neat that they tried to give you kind of two Van Damme movies in one. They gave you Hard Target, but they gave you Lionheart for a little bit in the beginning, right?
That's a bit.
And I'm like, there's a lot of fighting in here. And then he's fighting in that underground area. I'm like, wait, what's going on here? And you're like, is this Hard Target 2 or Lionheart 2? Like, what is this? So I thought that was kind of neat. And then the other thing is that they decided to flip the character completely, which is like, look, Van Damme's the best. That's everyone knows that. But Scott Adkins is awesome on his own as well. So instead of trying to make him a Van Damme clone, they reversed it. This guy doesn't care about life. He's not, like Van Damme wants to live. He's trying to help people. This guy's like, look, I'm just done. I don't care. I'll do whatever. He's fighting at that not nightclub. It's like a party or something, right? And then they go up to him, they're like, yeah, you want to do this thing? He's like, sure. Like, he doesn't give a shit anymore. So that's a different character. So at least they didn't try to clone it, because a lot of these movies try to clone the character. Oh, he's like an ex-military guy or Marine or something. And it's like, it's just the same character again, but it's not. So the motivations are different for this guy. He doesn't really care. But then push comes to shove. It's like, well, shit, I want to live too, right? So I thought that was neat. They gave more emphasis to the hunters. So that's a positive in this one, because there's more hunters. So if you didn't like a certain guy or girl, Rona Mitra is pretty cool. If you didn't like a certain one of them, you could be like, well, this, there's the douchebag father, and then there's the arrogant gamer guy who's like, yeah, I'm here to just film this or whatever, and they're meeting him. They're like, oh, we're big fans of yours. You're great. I'm thinking, wait. At first, I was actually confused. I thought, wait, are they hunting him, or is he? What is going on in this scene? And they're like, no, we're hunting you. We're just being dicks. I was like, oh, you know what? Screw you guys. No, I'm serious. I was like, you know what? Screw you guys. So I actually hated the villains more. The thing is, Lance Henriksen and Arnold Vosloo are so cool, and they're sleek, and they're these great characters that you're like, yeah, these guys are cool. But the hunters in this one are pieces of shit. So it's a different setup. So I'll give props to the filmmakers for making this different. It does have some callbacks for sure. It's hunting, but it's not exactly a copy, right? Plus we had fights in the beginning, which was like just a bonus. It's like, okay, instead of searching for someone's father, we got fight scenes. I'm like, all right, I'll take it.
Yeah, I actually love Robert Knepper as the villain. Everyone knows him from Prison Break and Transporter 3, and he's always just a great villain. He's just someone sort of really creepy, but also I think he looks a bit like Lance Henriksen. He's got that kind of sort of sort of serious countenance. But then you've got Boba Fett as his henchman. Tamara Morrison. I forgot he was in it. Yeah, I was watching it the other day, and I was like, oh shit, it's Django / Boba Fett. I was like, that is awesome. And so he was great. And like you said, Rona Mitra, loved her in it, and she has, spoiler alert, the best death scene of the film. Which is fighting. Is it now? I know. Forgive me if I don't pronounce it. Anne Truong, the girl in it.
The girl.
And she has this awesome fight scene with her, and then she like kicks her between the cars, and then her like throat gets impaled on something. I don't even know what it is. We're just like, yes. But the only thing was, I thought the color is a bit sort of dreary, and it has a sort of bluish, almost grey tint to it, which I wasn't quite as big a fan of. I just sort of took away something from it, but I still thought, in terms of like being a low budget straight to DVD movie, it was pretty decent. I've seen plenty worse. Severio comments here, and he's Scott Adkins is great as normal, correct? You can feel the impact of his choreography. He's got the skills and the looks, but the movie is just very okay. Yeah, I would agree with that. But yeah, I mean, it still tries to sort of capture the John Woo spirit, though. You got the slow motion, the pigeons and doves and everything. So you feel like you're watching Hard Target. This feels like it takes place in the same world. And one of my favorite moments actually isn't really an action scene, but it's where he's with the elephants. When he falls, and I asked Scott about that, and he said, "Oh yeah," he says. I said, "How was that in the scene with the elephants?" And he said, "I was covered in shit the entire time." He says, "I was covered in elephant shit. I was covered in pigeon shit." He says, "I was just covered in shit the entire time because it's the jungle." But it sounds like it was certainly an interesting shoot, anyway. But,
I think some of the story elements were a little weird, right? Where like that general is like, "Oh, I'm going to let the village go if we give him the diamonds and or the rubies," and I thought, like, is he really going to do that? I don't get what's going on. So they try to insert some things to make it more than just a hunting movie. Whereas I think Hard Target was like, look, we know this is going to be a hunt movie, but we're going to embrace that and really elevate the action and elevate the cinematography. And it's going to be like all the characters are going to be super cool characters, even the villains, the good guy, like everyone is cool, right? Whereas this one, they tried to make it a little bit more grittier or a little bit more meaner and add a couple of other elements to it, like, like there's that little temple scene, and then I'm like, okay, this is kind of neat. But in doing that, you lost a little bit of the momentum of the hunting part of it, right? Like he's on the run for quite a bit, and then they take a break, and I think they realize that like maybe we're giving too much. There's a lot of fighting in the first half, and then there's like the hunting parts, and they thought we need to give this movie a time to breathe, and let's have these scenes with him and the girl, which is okay. But it did take a little bit away, and I didn't find her story as interesting, though she was pretty neat. I thought she was cool. I didn't find her story as interesting.
Yeah, it very much exists in the Hard Target universe. Yeah, agreed. I thought it was okay. I enjoyed it enough. I thought Scott was awesome, and what I liked is that there's almost more hand-to-hand fight scenes in this movie than there is. The first one's all about the gunplay, and this one's more about Scott Adkins showing him kicking ass, like when he jumps in there and does the flag kick kicks the two guys at the same time. That was awesome. Loved all that, and there's still some good kills. But yeah, I thought it was okay. Now we'll go back to Stephen's question. Or
Hard Target. 3.
Okay, yeah. So if we had Hard Target 3, what I would do is Chance and Natasha has a kid, like a daughter or something. Well, everyone's got to have a female lead these days. So there you go. Yeah, they have a daughter, and she's kidnapped or something. And you could actually, I would call Hard Target the Syndicate. And there's like this like international organization that just kidnaps people and then hunts them for sport. So then Chance finds is it Wes, is that his name? I can remember Scott Adkins' character. I can't remember the character's name. And then they have to work together, and then they end up they hunt the Syndicate, and they become the hunters this time around.
Yeah,
and I like that idea. So yes, that's
Ruby Rose.
Ruby Rose, absolutely, of course it would be. But then you have like somebody like Tony Jaa, the villain, or something like that, and because I just want to see him in more movies, because I find that Hollywood doesn't really know what to do with him. I remember seeing him in like Return of Xander Cage with like a bowler hat, and he's doing Michael Jackson impressions and things. I'm like, why are you doing this to Tony? Don't do this to my friend Tony.
You watch Ong Bak and Tom Yum Goong or Protector or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what Ong Bak is called in what's the English. Is there an English name or is it just
Ong Bak? It's just called Ong Bak.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So I know Ong Bak and Tom Yum Goong yeah. And it's like that guy was like the greatest person ever. Like he could, and then I don't know. It's like it seemed like we need the gritty, action guy. We don't want this like silly character.
No, it's like the comic relief kind of thing, which he has been a lot of the time, or just like a sidekick. Like I know some people didn't like it, but I absolutely loved Triple Threat. Yeah, that's the weird. Alex just said the same thing. Bring the cast as Triple Threat. Yeah. So, we ran all kinds of ideas. So Severio is saying, sounds like a great idea to me. Chad Stahelski can direct it. In fact, he can just direct all action movies from here on out. I agree with that. Yeah, no issues there. So Stephen says, I would pay to see that. So yeah, I mean, there's so much you could do, because Michael Jai White, I'm a big fan of as well. But yeah, he's been in a lot of like straight to DVD garbage recently, unfortunately. Although he did a movie with his wife recently called Turn Back or something, which is alright. I like that. Anyway, you could have. I've tried to come up with these different ideas. Have like Michael Jai White as one of the bad guys, and I would love to, set it in Africa. We're like being chased in Africa, which is always sort of the initial idea of my script, which I was going to write years ago. Remember whenever it was like ivory poachers and they were hunting, and it was initially going to be called Savage Game. So I'd be like Hard Target 3, Savage Game. There you go. So that's what I would.
I think you could start out Hard Target 3 by having a girl being hunted by a bunch of people, and she's killing them all off, and then she meets the head guy or whatever, and then kills this head guy who is like controlling it all, and then all of a sudden, like a helicopter comes down and Van Damme comes out, and and she's like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Just checking up on you," and it's like, "Okay, Dad, I got this," and you're like, it's like they're going around getting themselves in these situations where they're being hunted, and then they're turning the tables and killing them.
Yeah. To find out who the bad guys are. So they're deliberately letting themselves. Yeah. And they've been training for this. Yes.
And then
give us the budget, we'll do it.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll write it. I gotta tell you, Sean and I, we go to these toy shows. We write movies way better. Like, we're talking about these movies, and I'm getting goosebumps. And I'm like, we've got to make this movie, and it's like they never do. Why don't they call us? Oh, and get somebody.
I know. Us like, I come up with so many ideas for movies and things, but the movies I want to see, like that time. Remember, I told you I wrote that script, and they said, please make it more like the Bourne movies, and I'm like, no, this is supposed to be the opposite of that, idiot. So it's supposed to be like a throwback to 80s or whatever. But yeah, I mean, there's so many cool ideas we could do. And if someone just wants to hire us, then we could just do this. We'll write good action movies. We could do that. We'll write the shit out of that. So I mean, do you remember the idea I had for a sequel to The Rundown with Dwayne Johnson? That was kind of sort of like a Hard Target kind of movie. They're being like hunted through the jungle. Yeah. And I remember my idea was to do The Rundown too, but it also was a sequel to Commando, because you have Arnold in the opening scene, and then you have it where like they all have to team up or something. And
they got to do like the Wooverse.
Yeah,
a Wooverse, and it's like
the Wooverse. Yeah,
like Tequila shows up from Hard Boiled. All the hard characters. They got to do Hard Boiled, Hard Target, Hard Rain. What's another, like, get all those, like Christian Slater.
John Travolta
from Broken Arrow. Get Christian Slater from Broken Arrow. Chance Boudreau, Tequila, Who's the guy? What's the guy's name in The Killer? Oh no, but it's the same guy, so he can't do that. But yeah, like just have the best and have all them team up.
Yeah, that seems like something
Shane Black could ruin.
Yeah, and God, I used to be such a fan of his too, but after the Predator and Iron Man 3, it's all right.
It's like they went out of their way to make a something that was disrespectful, you know. So yeah,
that tends to be the way of things.
For the Predator, the fourth.
For the Predator, yeah. Speaking of which,
that was the fourth one, right?
Yeah. We're allowed to talk about Predator because he's a hunter, so you know. It's thematically similar. But I don't know if anybody has seen the synopsis for the potential new Predator movie.
No.
Oh, hold on. Right, wait till I find this. It's hilarious. Hold on.
What's that one called? The Predator? Like, I hate when they put the in front of it. It's like, it's a new movie.
No, it's different. Right, okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a female Predator or something stupid, right?
Close. Where is it?
It's so tiresome.
Yeah, but that wouldn't happen though, because anyway, if you know the lore,
don't explain.
I can't find it. But, I mean, there's some stuff which is cool, and it, like
straight to
it's yeah. I hear it's a female. No, it probably will go straight to Hulu, but it's apparently a Native American female lead. But apparently, and in this synopsis, I don't know if this is real or not, but in the synopsis, they mention gender norms twice in the synopsis. It's like, she goes against gender norms to do this, and then goes against gender norms to do this. I was like, it's a fucking Predator movie. I don't want to be preached about a Predator movie. I just want to see a monster ripping people's spines out. That's what we're there for. So, yeah.
I don't remember the synopsis for Hard Targets being... Sean Boudreau, a heterosexual, you know, whatever, like white straight man or whatever, cis male, who is a former Marine. Like, it's just like Sean Boudreau is a former Army, you know, Marine or whatever.
And he's homeless and a badass. Yeah, that's what we need.
That's it. Like, why do we have to have in brackets like what their thing is? It's like, what does it matter? If you want to have a Native American, have a Native American, right? And just be like, you know, make the name an obvious name so that we know that it's a Native person. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, is in charge of trying to find the predators that she's tracked down over the years or something or whatever, right? Like why would you put Native American, thus breaking gender norms and race norms? Like, what are you talking about? Like, who cares? Like, just tell me the story of this thing.
Yeah. Actually, this is my
There is no story.
I need to find a synopsis.
Like, I remember the Alien versus Predator comics, like the old Dark Horse comics, had a lead female in it, and it was perfectly natural, and no one ever batted an eyelash about it. Like, she lived among the predators, and then she knew their ways after a while. It was cool, but no one came out and said, "Look, she's a woman." Like, look at us. Like, it was just part of the story, you know.
Yeah. Sorry, where is it?
Oh, yeah,
I'm trying to find this synopsis.
Yeah, you can find. I'm rewatching Voyager now because we finished Deep Space Nine. We do all Star Treks on rotation, right? Yeah. And now I'm on Voyager. That's a super like diverse cast. Men, women. There's a native. There's a black guy. There's I think B'Elanna is like Latino or whatever. Like, there's so many, and they're all female, male. They all work together. Harry Kim, you know, he's Chinese or whatever. It's like literally no one cares. Like, I didn't even think about, this is my fourth time. Yeah. No, this is my third time through Voyager. I never picked up on that. Literally until last night's episode, I thought, oh my God, this is the checking all the boxes show. But it nobody cared when it came out.
There was controversy about Tuvok.
Why? Because of his race?
Black Vulcan. It's like, why are you putting race on Vulcans and stuff like that?
Maybe so maybe there was a little bit, but I mean, if that's the only call,
wasn't what it was now.
right. It's like, but I love Tuvok. I got the doll of him.
He's cool, man.
I like everybody in Voyager.
And Chakotay is from Night of the Comet, no?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
he's from Night of the Comet, boy, and he's from eating Raoul too. I think he's from that. I like Chakotay. He's badass. Yeah.
All right.
I found it. Okay, right. Here is the potential. So it says 10 Cloverfield Lanes. Dan Trachtenberg is directing the new Predator film from a screenplay by Patrick Eisen. Amber Midthunder is believed to be taking on the role of Key, a Comanche woman who goes against gender norms and traditions to become a warrior. Many years ago, in a time before any Europeans had ever encroached on their lands, the Comanche people had a well-defined society and gender norms. Key is very close to her younger brother, TAE, who is being groomed as a leader. As capable as any young man in the tribe, Key has always been a teacher and source of inspiration for TAE. In the Comanche way, she is Patsy, the elder sister that has helped to shape him. Key is a truth elder and has insight that others do not. A tomboy, of course, she wants to prove herself in the masculine world of the Comanche. When danger threatens them all, Key sets out to prove that she is as capable as any young warrior.
Where's the Predator?
Where's the Predator?
Yeah.
I gotta say something. This might be a hot take or controversial, but I'm not gonna make it too controversial. Look, in that time, this character is super fake because it's just like these concepts are born later on. Someone living in that time is not going to think, I'm going to go against gender norms and do this. Like that doesn't happen, right? Like, or if it does, it's like the percentage is so rare.
Yeah,
it's so rare that there shouldn't be a movie about it because it's like such a rare. It's like someone's born with like an extra thumb, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh yes, now that's a new thing. Now people have extra thumbs. It's like, well, that's not really normal.
Yeah. So very so their Hollywood just can't help themselves, can they? Politics.
They just can't.
How can you do that with the Predator movie? And I was like, you already killed the franchise with that god awful, unwatchable mess that was the last movie.
Unwatchable.
Well, now they're terminating it, so they're just like doing terrible movie after terrible movie that just like spits in the eye of. I like parts 1 to 3; they're really good.
For sure.
3 was good. I don't know what everyone's problem is with that, but
with 3.
Yeah,
I like 3. I like 2 a lot. That's why. 1 and 2 are like. Well, I like 3 too, but 1 and 2 are like really, really good. But 3 is still really good. Mm-hmm. And then 4 that was just a bad movie.
It's just off a cliff. Yeah.
It's awful.
It was like a parody, and I was like, why is there so much humor in this? It's like there's no tension, stupid little dog things, and everyone like,
the dogs with the predator faces was the worst. It's like, I don't know if that was a joke or not.
Yeah. The second movie, they said my favorite scene, actually, maybe of the Predator franchise, was the subway scene when the Predator's on the train, starts like killing everybody. I was like, that scene is so awesome. So we've kind of got off the track. We have gone off the track. So we'll go back. Sorry, everybody. So yeah, that was some of the ideas I had for a third movie. Do you guys have any other ideas for potential sequels or spin-offs?
Well, I mean, I like Jason's opening scene like that.
Oh my! Yeah. I'm great at coming up with like I'm the franchise savior. Send me in. I'll be like, I don't know. I'll be like one of the cleaner guys. You call it like in Pulp Fiction. They call in what's his face?
Leon the Professional.
Yeah. Whoever. Call him in. It's like, yeah, I'll save this franchise. What do you got? How bad is it? You got natives fighting the Predator. They'll get killed. Forget that idea. It's trash. It's like, the Predator's gonna wipe the floor with these people. What are you talking about? They have bows and arrows.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was like the first movie. It was like, they were military, they were trained soldiers, and they still got their asses kicked like they were nothing, like they were paper. So yeah, that's where they're going here.
AJ.
The reality is, these movies are just identity politics with the skin of the popular franchise characters in it. It will only change when everything stops making dollars. Exactly. I would agree with that.
And now they have streaming, so they try. There's like this illusion that it's done. It's made. It's like, oh, X number of millions of people watched it. Okay, well, does that mean X numbers of millions of people actually cared about it, or they just turned it on to see what it was and then turned it off? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I mean, you can't tell. You can't measure this. It's not like when we used to go to the theater, and we'd be like, "There's no one here." It's like, okay, this movie's not doing very well. Like we know when we went to go see Marvel movies, it'd be jam packed, right?
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I went to see the first Hard Target in the theater. Me and my dad went to see it like a bunch of times. And Dad would always take me to see the Van Damme and Seagal movies. We would always go and see these movies, and we saw Hard Target and Sudden Death a whole bunch of times in the theater. We loved it, and it was like me and my dad, and I met 2 or 3 other people. I mean, these movies rarely filled the theater. It was always like the action genre. I found stuff like that tended to be almost more cult. It was sort of more smaller scale. It wasn't like the way it is now, where it's like $1 billion blockbusters and everything. It was just it was just like sons and their dads, or guys and their buddies, or whatever, and that was all it ever was. But a few years ago in Toronto, at TIFF, they did a Van Damme versus Seagal fest. Do you remember that?
Oh, wow.
And they had like all the various movies on, and it was like me, Alan, Tyler, Ed. We would see it. Hard Target was on. We would see it in the theater, and this is just like about 3 or 4 years ago or something. I think I asked you to go, but you couldn't go because there was work. Yeah, I remember that. And then I remember just seeing, because I don't think Ed had actually seen Hard Target before, and the first time you got to see it was on the big screen in the theater.
Wow.
But I remember, I think that was the first time I'd watched the North American version, and I was like, oh wow, this is like really cut. I couldn't believe how edited it all was. So there was like really quite a lot removed from it. But just seeing it on the big screen was awesome, and I just, it's one of those movies you can quote every line to while you're watching it, but particularly anything that Pick says, like Rendu. I still say to this day, it's like, I know you never meant to hurt my feelings. I just love that. That's my favorite line.
I try to adopt people's names in it. Like there's a guy at work, I was like, Mark, but it doesn't, it needs to be 2-syllable names. Yeah. It doesn't work if it's like Sean wouldn't work, right? Yeah. Like Steven. It's got to be two. It's got to be.
That's not bad. Yeah, Owen. See, that's not bad. That works.
Yeah, you can't do Sean. It doesn't work. No. Jason's okay, right? But like, yeah. But I think from Nowhere to Run and on, I literally saw every Van Damme movie that came out in theaters for sure. They stopped after Double Team or Knockoff, whichever one came after. And then JCVD was the next one I saw, because all those, like Desert Heat, I think was the first one. I think Desert Heat was the first one where we didn't get it here. We got Legionnaire, I think, right? I'm trying to look at my I think maybe Legionnaire we did get, and then that was it. From that point on, we didn't get anything until JCVD came in.
Yeah, I remember Desert Heat. I remember the movie itself isn't great, but I love the music. The music score is one of my all-time faves. Bill Conti did Rocky. So Severio says, maybe you can do an open discussion on a Friday night. Any topic goes. Well, you do another stream, don't you, on a Friday?
I can arrange stuff. The Friday one isn't set in stone just yet. I do Thursday, Friday, sometimes Saturday, and Thursday and Sunday are the big ones. Wednesday I've reserved for here. And then Fridays I'm open as well. We could do an open one on a Friday. Anything goes kind of a thing.
Yeah, well, maybe that's the one which we can just call shooting the shit. I think that's just what we'll call it, and then I'll just do a 1 or something to avoid the censors. But that's probably a good idea, because I know I'm going to be doing a few other ones. There's one I'm doing in a few weeks with Jeff from Action Reloaded, and I'm going to be doing that on a different day because he's in the UK. He's like 5 hours ahead. So we're going to be doing the Escape Plan trilogy. So we haven't really done many Stallone, I know, because like Van Damme's my boy, so always do stuff on that. But so yeah, I think we're going to do that because it's for Stallone's birthday, and we thought, okay, we would try and maybe do a live stream then. I don't know if it'll be on the day, but it'll be sort of around that day anyway. So the bad news is, unfortunately, that I'm going to be back at work from July 5th. So I'll be back at the office, so it's going to be harder to find the time, but I've taken vacation days the day I'm supposed to be back at the office. I was like, where do I go? But I mean, we are going to do more of these streams or whatever. I mean, some of them, like this one, we're pretty much done. They don't always have to go on for a couple hours or whatever. They can just be shorter, which is fine, and we can just talk about random things like news articles or trailers and things like that. So maybe we can just start doing that, because I know me and Yuvian are supposed to be doing that at some point, so we'll see. So we've got a couple of comments here. So I think Universal Soldier 2 was the last Van Damme theatrical movie. No, JCVD would have been. I remember JCVD got released in theater, and Expendables 2.
100%.
Yeah. Don't forget Hard Ticket to Hawaii, of course, in that Andy Sedaris.
Yeah.
Nice.
Open Range, yes, I remember that.
The Western with Kevin Costner.
Yeah. Was that a hunting movie? I don't think I saw. I don't think I saw it, but I remember.
Before those two movies. Oh, okay, right, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Is it Rocky IV director's cut? Can't wait for that shit. Yes.
I love Rocky IV.
Yeah, that's maybe. I can't decide if it's 3 or 4. See, I love 3 because I love Mr. T. and 3 has always been my favorite, so it's like 3 or 4. But
I think maybe 3 is better than 4, but 4 has Dolph Lundgren, and it's like a music. It's basically the musical.
It's a
as Sean was
musical.
pointing
Yeah,
out.
it's Rocky the Musical.
yeah, and it has maybe the best training montage of all time.
For sure.
I mean, running up a mountain and going Drago.
When he runs up a mountain. So,
Yeah, I mean,
how do you top the stairs? Okay, he runs up a mountain.
well, Van Damme nearly topped that. Yeah, Van Damme nearly topped that in Double Team, where he lifts a bath full of water. Do you remember that? He's like lifting the bathtub full of water. Like, okay, it was so random.
That's impossible. No. That's impossible.
So, I think that wraps up everything I want to say sort of about Hard Target. Anybody have anything else you want to add? So, but if anybody wants to hire us, we're available to write scripts for Hard Target or any other movies, and there won't be politics involved or anything like that. They would just be entertaining.
That's it. We're out of it. We're out. How could you? We will save a franchise. Give me the worst franchise. Yeah. We are the franchise saviors. Bring us in.
Give us Terminator or Predator or something, and we'll do a proper movie, or maybe a new RoboCop movie. Remember, we were supposed to get RoboCop Returns, and then that never happened for some reason.
Yeah, I want to see RoboCop violent. I need it to be violent again, not a kiddie show.
Yeah, I mean, they already did that with the awful RoboCop 3, and then the RoboCop remake, which was pointless. Plastic Cop or Rubber Cop, remember whatever they call them, because it looked like rubber. The outfit's awful. Awful. Yeah, we'll do a RoboCop one at some point and stream for sure. But yeah, for the next week's one, though, I don't think I asked you this, Sean, yet, but next Wednesday is going to be an Indiana Jones retrospective because it's 40th anniversary of Raiders, and since Raiders is maybe my all-time favorite film, or it's certainly way up there, then I'm looking forward to talking about that. So you all are invited to that again. Stephen's already agreed to that. So that one will be
Indiana Jones.
yeah, I know. It's like, Indiana Jones is maybe my favorite movie character. It's like Indiana Jones and Indy and James Bond, like 2 of my favorites. Yeah. So Severio says RoboCop needs to be serious and dark again. Absolutely, yeah, and violent and have satire and everything. We need more toxic waste kills. Like that.
That was awesome.
That still may be the best kill of all time.
Like RoboCop had things to say, but it didn't shove it down your throat, and it didn't become unentertaining as a result.
Yeah, but it's called good writing whenever people can actually be subtle.
Being clever.
Yeah, which there rarely is in movies these days. You're like, oh, but no, we have to plaster and everything, so there's nothing subtle about it. And like, great, thanks. So anyway, I think it's call it a day. So Owen needs his dinner once again. So we need more Murphy kills, absolutely. So yeah, I think next couple of weeks then we'll do RoboCop. I think that'll be fun.
Awesome.
So thanks guys for joining us anyway, and we'll see you next week for Indiana Jones. But for now, hunting season is over.